Cheers.
Cheers.
End of a hell of a season.
Hell of a season, guys.
Is it working?
Is this thing on? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't want to say we told you so, but we did see this coming.
Nice beverage, John.
Thanks.
Let's talk about that for an hour. Something. This video is about beer, not rugby. Joking, it's about rugby.
Yeah.
So it was
took a little bit of stick. Did you see that? Some of those comments that were like, I watched this video I watched your channel for the first time and I will not be watching it again.
Oh, really?
Because
I did not even see that.
Did you see that?
What did we do?
He said, no, he was like, you guys, no, because we said that the last week's semi-final was like a competition to see who loses to Leinster in the final.
Oh. Was it Irish people who said
No,
that?
it was some local person who got very upset with us.
Oh, sorry, man. Sorry we offended you.
He said that hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie, and
I didn't see that. I missed that. Sorry.
And he said that our assessment was not on the facts. And I was like, it is on the facts.
It's not really a factual. We basically fans that sit. We have beer. We don't do any prior research.
But we are.
So if you're
biased.
watching because you think that we have a producer somewhere,
I don't think anyone thinks that we research this stuff.
No.
If they've seen the videos,
no, we don't. We're never even sure of
we're
what
just
this.
fans.
I'm pretty sure the score was 32-7 though.
Okay, yeah. Let's start there. Congratulations to Leinster. It was a long time coming.
It was.
I mean, every single year we've done this competition, it's been like, okay, it's like a shock when Leinster doesn't make it through to the final. And it was like the apocalypse when they made it to the final. We knew this is going to be bad. Yeah,
they definitely wanted it extremely badly, very, very badly.
No, they wanted it, and
it's 3 years of hurt.
Yeah,
and lots of Champions Cup finals, and just like silverware in general. And you could see it in the intensity and the line speed and tackling players backwards and being at home and weather that obviously
horrendous weather
they're very familiar with. So definitely huge for them losing a very important player before the game started in Gibson Park, and you could hardly even see it.
You didn't notice it.
Yeah. The forwards, the pack was amazing.
Yeah,
the backs as well, but I mean it all starts up front, right?
Yes.
Joe McCarthy and who's the other lock? James Ryan. Yes, he was excellent. Excellent in the loose. Like, he's normally one of those guys, like an unsung hero, kind of a quiet workhorse, but yes, you just saw that scrum cap everywhere. Van der Fleer was back to his best.
Van der Fleer, I thought, like, he's been so, like, since he was Player of the Year. When was it? Like 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
He's really gone quiet.
He was quiet, and then he showed his class again.
Jack Conan was immense. I thought he was going to be man of the match. And Ryan Baird obviously was also excellent.
Yeah.
But so where did it go wrong for the Bulls? Being Bulls fans.
It just felt like we just didn't rock up.
Yeah. I thought there were a few moments, but you have to create those things yourself. When Johan Goosen knocked the ball on, that was no human being would have been able to pick that up off the grass with a defender a meter from you. I shouted, just kick it through.
Yeah.
Obviously if it comes off a shin, you can also concede a try.
Yeah.
But it's little silly decisions like that. Like the comments from other friends, overseas friends. Alan in England said that Goosen and Willie Leroux were terrible. And I think that's those little decisions. You need moments of brilliance from those key players in order to win a game. And from the start, they just seemed nervous. They seemed to make.
I think they seemed so like rushed and frantic. And that's also Leinster. That was maybe a little bit of I don't know, the defensive coach, whether it is Jacques who's actually Jacques Nienaber.
Not made of that, eh?
But it's like we just seemed so under pressure from the start.
Yeah.
And that comes from Leinster being intense in their line speed, etc.
Yeah. Yeah, and like if Goosen kicked that, maybe something would have happened. But in those little moments where Barrett kicked that ball through, someone else might have tried to collect it or would have dived on it or something, and it just worked out brilliantly.
Yeah.
The perfect connection. I have to say, but I don't think it had any impact. I think obviously playing at home and stuff, things go your way a little bit, but nothing glaring. The ref was generally good. I think he was a little bit lost at the scrums. I think he sort of blew tit for tat a little bit.
That surprised me. It surprised me that we struggled.
No, there were there was one scrum where Porter celebrated like he's just won the World Cup. And his shoulders definitely went down first. And the linesman called it, the ref was on the other side. But I mean then we got a few scrum penalties as well.
Yeah.
But it was surprising that we struggled in the scrums that much. On the set piece lineouts again, not great.
But the lineouts have been a struggle for us the last while.
They need a bit of innovation in there. Look, guys figure stuff out. If you have a short line out with 5 guys or 4 guys in a line out, it's not that hard to figure it out. So you've got to try different stuff.
Plus you're against excellent locks.
Yeah, very, very good locks.
Yeah,
and silly things. I mean, Harold Foster, okay, thank goodness it wasn't a yellow card.
Yeah.
But grabbing Joe McCarthy's face. My question was, and no one, I asked that question to someone else as well, who seemed to think it's a silly question to ask. What was Joe McCarthy?
Yeah, why was he tackling? Why was he putting our guy off sides? Yeah.
Why was he playing a player without the ball in an offside position?
Yeah.
And then something happens after that where they decide, okay, let's have a look. But there were 2 Leinster players there. In any case, wouldn't have changed the game.
It wouldn't have changed the game.
Not moaning about the ref.
The game was over at 14-0 in my mind. It was like, well, now it's just going to be...
And then it seemed like the Bulls managed to get themselves back into the game and they just could not get through.
Yeah.
They could not get through. Lots of silly handling errors, difficult conditions, but some of it was stuff that just shouldn't happen. Willie Leroux, a bad pass. But again, they're experienced enough to know. Willie, a loopy pass coming to him from a mile away, stop it with your foot. We see it all the time in wet conditions. Stop it with your foot, pick it up. If the ball is basically coming in ankle height, just stop it with your foot. There's time.
Yeah.
Same with Goosen. When he tried to collect a ball, ankle height, kick it through. Or again, stop it with your foot, kick it into a Leinster guy's hands or into his face or whatever.
The skills were just not there.
Bad decision making, bad skills.
Yeah.
But I think even if the Bulls managed to play better, it was just a day where Leinster was so good that I think hardly anyone. I don't know if the Crusaders would have beaten them. Or the Blues
I thought that they was kind of playing a game that you would have wanted to see them play in like the Champions Cup. They seemed like a Champions Cup team in that moment. They just seemed so like clinical and like the games that we lost in the Champions Cup, the Bulls, like that's how we lost them. It was like just against extreme intensity. A lot of international stars that our guys we've got lots of Springboks in our team. Yeah, but see the caliber of those guys. Yeah, it's amazing.
Defense wins finals. They forced us into mistakes and they capitalized from those mistakes. It wasn't. I mean, I think the scoreline could have been closer with 1 or 2 things. When it was 19, when they were 19 points ahead, and I thought, well, it was 22-7. It was still, the Bulls still had a little bit of an outside chance, and they were making a lot of the play, but they just couldn't get through.
Yeah.
But they just stuck in there, and an amazing defense and the right stuff at the right time. Scrum penalties, line-out steals, much better kicking out of hand, kicking penalties and conversions, and they just did the base. It was like a test match.
Yeah.
But a high-scoring test match.
Very high score. Did they score 5 tries or 4 tries? What was the end?
No, that's one of those questions that you shouldn't ask because I don't know the answer.
Yeah, sorry. But I mean, what I'm saying is
a lot of tries.
Like, it's a lot of tries for a final, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about the season in general.
Yeah.
Who should be happy? Who should be a bit disappointed?
Well, look,
what do we want for next season? What do we want to happen? What do we need?
We lost the final not on Saturday. Obviously, we lost it on Saturday, but we lost it by losing a home game to the Sharks, a home game to the Stormers, and an away game to the Sharks.
Yeah.
That would have put us ahead of Leinster.
Yes.
So it's like those weird hoodoo teams for us that are undoing us.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
I know we lost it in the final last year. I know that. That is bad.
Yeah.
But if you want to give yourself a chance, you must play at home.
Yeah.
And if
last year's final, I think that was our big chance.
That is our big chance. So, but still, you always have a chance if you're in the final at home.
Yeah.
So that's where the season.
You need to try and end top of the log.
You gotta beat the Sharks at home.
Yeah.
And you gotta beat the Stormers at home.
Yeah.
So we need to be the best in our conference.
Yeah.
That was disappointing.
To be able to pick more or less the same fly off and scrum off and key positions every week. Yeah. Cameron Hanekom is a great player, but he's injured often.
Yeah.
We need better guys in the engine room. We've got brilliant starting props.
Dude, our forwards are good.
Yeah, but we need. I still think we need. With Kobus Wiese was an amazing buy.
Yeah.
And we might need one more lock. It looks like all they're trying is to buy locks. We've bought like 3 locks.
Janssen van Rensburg now.
Yeah, and some Deliu young guy from one of the Italian teams. Yeah, so a few guys, but also getting on in years a bit that are coming through. A few things I'd like to see. I'd really like to see the Welsh teams sort out their political issues in Wales rugby.
But there was some green shoots, or whatever you want to call it, with the Scarlets playing very well. I mean, beating Leinster. Okay, they struggled on their tour here. Yeah. But I mean, they played then a quarter-final, I think, against Leinster as well, where they did not shame themselves at all. Very, very good.
Yeah, no. So I think the Scarlets is a big positive for them.
But just for the competition, I agree that
get Welsh politics out of Welsh rugby, and they need to improve.
I thought Zebre is much better.
Very good.
Italian teams look good.
Yeah. Scottish teams look really good, and then I think there are a few issues in Irish rugby considering everyone other than Leinster. Yeah,
I thought that the last year or two those are hardy dogs.
Yeah, you can't do anything about them.
Yeah.
It's not like eating rusks.
No. I thought the first couple of seasons the Irish teams, all of them were like ridiculously strong, and it's probably you could say the same about some of the South African teams, like the Lions even, who have dropped off completely. I thought Connacht has kind of just dropped off, and Ulster, who are I thought they're strong. I really admired them, but they've lost their way a bit.
Yeah, so I think that's something they'll want to do. I think South Africa will be happy with the Sharks and the Bulls and the Stormers to an extent. Big things need to happen at the Lions. I think they need to move stadium. I think they need to move out of the centre of Johannesburg, and they need to. They have the players. I think at one stage, also a few crucial injuries maybe. But if they play somewhere where players want to play, then I think it will go better.
Yeah, I don't know what the dynamic is, but do you want like top of the log team and a bottom of the log team in your pool?
No, not really.
And I think the same, the Irish teams can maybe ask that as well of themselves.
Like spread your talent better across all unions,
or reduce a team, you know?
Yeah, take one team out.
Yeah, I know that's not what the the TV, whatever, the broadcasting guys want to hear, because it's more games, more advertising.
Yeah, you always want to expand competitions.
But does it make it better? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think if that's the stuff, I think the Italian teams are actually on the right track.
And the Scots. I think they had a great year, even though Glasgow lost disappointingly in the semis.
Yeah, I think in general
they had a great follow-up to last year's win, the Glaswegians.
Yeah,
and I thought Edinburgh was very good.
And only having 2 teams.
Yeah,
they only have 2 teams.
They only have 2 teams.
Yeah, so you can spread your talent across 2 teams.
And you see it.
Yeah,
you see that.
And Wales have how many?
I think they've got 4. Sorry, let's
That's
go.
odd,
Dragons, Blues,
Cardiff Blues, Scarlets,
Ospreys. So they got 4.
4 teams, and the Scots only 2. Maybe you should make that 3-3, or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just
I would keep the Scottish teams as they are. They've got a nice strength. It's good strength at the moment. I think.
I think South Africa has enough talent. I think the problem with the Lions is administrative stuff, I think.
Maybe.
Because they were there. They've been there often. Where they, like, a couple of weeks before the end of the competition, they could still make it into the top 8. And then they just completely fell away. So
that would be fine if the following season they kick on.
Yeah. Okay, Kaiser. Okay.
Like the Bulls have had seasons like that before, where they you can see that they got talent, but then they sort of fade at the end of the season, and then they kick on the next season and they become better.
The Sharks are going to get stronger.
Do you think so?
There's money and there's talent. They're going to buy lots of good players again as well.
I think that maybe sums up the season the best, is like the team with the most internationals. I don't know what the stats are, but like Leinster has the best internationals in their teams, team.
And a country whose international rugby is right at the top at the moment.
Yeah.
If you look at the guys coming off the bench and guys who replace injured players, I mean, Frawley replacing Ringrose, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yes.
Is it Frawley? No.
I don't care.
No, but in any case,
the point is they supercharged that already amazing, basically Irish
team
with Osborne.
Yeah.
With
Jamie Osborne, sorry.
With guys like Erge Snyman and Jordy Barrett, who's able to bring in an All
Conan
Black,
replacing Doris,
like a starting All Black and a starting Springbok into their international team.
Yeah.
Imagine
they still have Rico Johanni coming in.
Imagine we had basically the Springbok team, and then we're like, okay, now Rico Johanni comes on at left wing.
Yeah. Not to say, obviously, you still have to coach. They're brilliant. They're a brilliant coaching team.
Look at the Sharks.
Yeah. Look at the Sharks. I mean, if you look at what they have, they should have been. They should have won the competition. They should have had a chance of winning.
Actually, they were a big disappointment.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they disappointed, because I don't. Yeah. I'm not a Sharks fan.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that they didn't pull off. But I mean, like the game against Leinster in the round robin stage, where they lost like 10-7 against like their development team or whatever you want to call it. That's a shocker.
In Durban.
In Durban.
No, that's not good enough.
It's terrible.
Yeah. At least when those young teams came to Pretoria, it was normally we won quite convincingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but can't wait. It's probably starting again like pretty soon.
Yeah.
And we've got the Lions Fridays already playing the Force. So lots of nice rugby.
Are the British and Irish Lions playing the Force?
Who are they playing? Yeah, they're playing.
Argentina.
Yeah. Sorry, they're playing the Force after that.
In Dublin, I think.
Yeah, they're
I just want to say one last thing.
And then the Barbarians, nice rugby.
One last thing about the Bulls is I'm proud of them. They played very well. I love that they beat Glasgow in Glasgow.
Yeah.
That they beat Leinster after the hooter in Pretoria. That they beat Munster.
Yeah.
In, I don't know what the name of that, Limerick, wherever it is.
And with a lot of disruptions, actually, a lot of injuries.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. I think we did take a step up from last year in the sense that we played well away from home and we showed some grit and guts.
Yeah, it was actually a really good season.
I'm proud of the Bulls.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service, really.
Yeah.
I'm not even being sarcastic. I'm proud of them.
Yeah, me too.
And you fell at the last hurdle. And I look forward to guys like Andre Pollard coming in and Jan Serfontein.
Yes.
And what I hope is that that the existing guys get mentored by those guys. Yes. That it's not like, well, you're not good enough, so you know.
Yeah, and guys like Sebastian de Klerk, I mean,
brilliant breakthrough season.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, there are lots of positives to take out of it, and I sit here and I don't feel like I want the world to swallow me because we lost in the final. I actually feel quite happy with it.
I feel happy.
Yeah.
And that's not what Leinster fans want to hear. They want us to be sad.
They want us to be sad, but we didn't really expect to go there and beat Leinster. Congratulations, well done, great season. You deserve it to win a URC.
Yes.
We're coming.
We will get there.
Yeah.
There'll be a time when you fear us.
We need to finish top of the log though. Yes. When you play your B and C teams, we need to
capitalize on that.
Capitalize on that.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay. Great season. Cheers.